Christina did such a great job, and I now have nothing to say because she's outlined the agenda, but I'm delighted to be here with her and to share this evening, at least a few minutes of this evening with all of you, veterans, leaders of veterans' efforts, family members, survivors, spouses, children. As I came up the steps, I almost tripped, which would have been a moment of great excitement for me. It happened to me once in Kansas at a farm show in which I was called to the stage. I tripped as I came up the stairs and I slid across the stage and my glasses flew, and I thought, how do I get out of this? I stood up and said, well, at least I'm a United States Senator that can get up. And I feel that way this evening. I'm a United States Senator that can get up and hopefully make a difference. We are surrounded by many who served and surrounded by admirals and generals, supporters, donors, and I thank you all for your service, and I thank you for your presence here and your appreciation and support for TAPS. And Secretary Collins, it's a pleasure to be with you here this evening. Nice of you to join us, and we look forward to your service as the Secretary of Veterans Affairs in the care and concern for those who served our country. And if you'd give the Secretary a round of applause, I think it would be deserved. I meet lots of veterans as a member of Congress, and I've been a member of the House of Representatives for 14 years, and I served all 14 years on the House Committee on Veterans Affairs. I served most of that time as the chairman of the subcommittee on health care. And I came to the Senate and I asked for the assignment once again to serve on the Senate Committee on Veterans Affairs. And I've chaired the committee 4 years ago for a couple of years as, unfortunately, Johnny Isakson left the Senate. And I replaced him, replaced isn't the right word, but I succeeded him in his service on the committee and his service to veterans. And then Senator Tester has chaired the committee for the last 4 years, and with the change in political majorities, I now chair the committee again. And it is, I wouldn't say it's at all an easy task, but it's certainly the opportunity to try to make a difference, and every once in a while, make a difference in people's lives. All of you here have the goal of making certain that you care for others, make a difference in this world. And I appreciate the opportunity that I've been given to try to do the same. You know, I'm not a veteran. I am affected, influenced by the Vietnam War. If you are a year older than me, and certainly if you are 2 years older than me, you served in Vietnam. But by the circumstance of my date of birth and the year of my birth, that's not my case. But as a kid back in a small high school in Kansas, I saw how my classmates were treated upon their return from service. And I saw that on the nightly news as we saw men and women returning from service in Southeast Asia and the poor manner in which they were treated. And I, as a 16-year-old kid, said, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that I say thank you and that I say and to demonstrate my respect to those who served. I never expected to be a member of Congress, House, or Senate. Nothing you would expect in the way I grew up or the circumstances of my life. Grace of God, kindness of Kansans, I became a member of the House and the Senate and realized that my opportunity, in fact, my responsibility was to do more than say thank you and I respect you. Those are good words, but it seems to me that the job that Kansans allowed me to have requires more than that. And so we've attempted time and time again to provide an agenda that improves the circumstances that those who served, their family members, their survivors, their children, their spouses, that we actually keep our commitment that we're made to those who serve. And this became an opportunity for me to give service to those who served. There is lots of veteran organizations, and I respect them all. Certainly in this setting, I would want to say that I accepted this invitation because every time I'm at a TAPS event, I feel at home, except for right now. I feel comfortable. I feel surrounded by wonderful people. I've never experienced the trauma, the tragedy, the circumstance of the lives that many of you have led. It's not an experience that I can have personally, but with so many individuals, so many conversations, so many circumstances I've been told about, there's nothing here in my heart except gratitude for the opportunity to be here, but more importantly, for the gratitude that I want to express to TAPS and its leadership, to those who support it, those who volunteer, and especially to the people that TAPS serve. I thank you for you and your family's service. As Christina said, military service is family service, and we are going to do everything that we can together to make certain that those who have had the experiences that you have, that commitments are made to those who served and to their families, and that those commitments are kept. Christina indicated the PACT Act. One of the most significant experiences of serving on the Veterans Committee was the success of that passage of that legislation, and TAPS was a significant component of our ability to succeed. The Elizabeth Dole 21st Century Healthcare and Benefits Improvement Act, we're taking the step of making certain that there are opportunities for housing for senior veterans, for disabled veterans, for their families, and to make certain that those efforts are consistent to care for those individuals. It is perhaps the greatest opportunity because the stories I've been told, the experiences that I've listened to people tell me about, is the opportunity to make certain that those who were married to a service member, that service member has died, the spouse still loves the service member, the children still love their father or their mother, but because of that long old law, if that spouse determines that they're in love again, they are prohibited from receiving their benefits if they remarry before their 50s. And Love Lives On is the name of the act, and I appreciate the opportunity I've had to listen about how damaging this law is to people. It has a price tag, which that shouldn't matter too much to us, because it has a much greater price tag for failure to change the law. And so we've had a couple of components of this legislation pass, and for that I'm grateful, pleased. Again, as in the PACT Act, the Elizabeth Dole Act, and certainly as Love Lives On, none of this would have been accomplishable without the support of TAPS and the people in this room. We will do our best. We will not try to do our best. We will do our best to see that the final components of Love Lives On is a legislative success in 2025. So mostly I'm here to say thank you to TAPS, to its leadership, to its supporters, and express gratitude to members of those who served. I said this at the last time I was gathered at a TAPS gathering, but this is significantly larger than that group, so there's at least 2 or 3 people who have not heard me say this. But what I pointed out then, that when I get frustrated with the place called Washington, D.C., and I put on my running shoes and I walk up to the Lincoln Memorial. I walk up, I don't run, even though I have my running shoes on. And on the way, I go by the World War II Memorial, and then I go by the Vietnam Wall, and on my way back, I come by the Korean War Memorial. I'm reminded, incidentally, of something that I think Washington could do a lot better, and that is that no one that is honored in those settings, no one honored at the World War II Memorial, the Vietnam Wall, the Korean War Memorial, served their country because they were a Republican or a Democrat. No one went to battle for a political cause. Most people who served, they did so because they felt responsible. It was their responsibility. It was their citizenship responsibility. Mostly rightfully thinking that they were taking care of their family back home, the people they left behind. Mostly they were thinking about trying to make sure they survived another day, fulfilled their responsibilities, and were able to come home. But I can't imagine there was ever a thought of doing that service for something that so dominates our nation's capital and, in fact, our country today. So I try to remind myself, and I work at making certain that when I see those memorials, I certainly think of their sacrifice, but I also think of the aspect of them being role models. All of us can do a better job of working together. All of us can have a higher calling than the day-to-day aspects of petty politics. I particularly appreciate the World War II Memorial. My dad was a World War II veteran. My dad served in Northern Africa and Sicily and the boot hill of Italy in the Army. And one of those trips up to the memorials, this one was actually before the World War II memorial was completed. So a few weeks before the ribbon cutting, the ceremony that included my predecessor, Senator Bob Dole, I walked up there and found the Kansas column and stepped aside after seeing it and had my flip phone with me and called my dad at home in Plainville, Kansas. It was a great moment because the answering machine picked up, and it saved me from having to say the things I said to the answering machine may not have come out of my mouth had it actually been my father. And I said to the answering machine, and therefore my father, I said, "Dad, I'm at the World War II Memorial. And Dad, this memorial was built in your honor. And Dad, I want you to know that I respect you. Dad, that I thank you for your service. And Dad, I love you." The funny part of that story is I'm walking back to my office in Rayburn on the house side, and my phone rings. And I answer the phone, and it's my dad. And he says, "Gerald, you left me a message. I couldn't understand it. Would you repeat it?" My dad lived until 98, and he was part of that so-called greatest generation. My parents, incidentally, which would be an odd thing today, other than his service in World War II, never spent a night apart from each other and were married for 73 years. Well, thank you. It's just that I had nothing to do with it. But here's the opportunity for me to close my remarks. I no longer can repeat to my dad what I said and repeated to him now 20-some years ago. That opportunity does not exist. But it does exist for me to say that to you, to those who served, to their families who served, to loved ones. And so tonight, I would say once again what I said to my dad. We respect you, we thank you for your service, and we love you. Thank you for being people who are citizens, who put people above politics, and who make certain that the opportunities and the responsibilities that we have as citizens of this country are fully fulfilled, and to make sure that there's another greatest generation willing to serve, and another set of spouses and children and families who derive the benefits that service provides. Nothing better than service. Thank you for that service. We respect you, and we would say once again, we love you. Thank you. Thank you.